You might be wondering why the secret to effective feedback is giving unclear, misleading feedback. It took me 6 years of leadership to figure this one out. Conventional feedback advice is great, but has some major shortfalls. In this video, I'll show you why, my journey of giving feedback, and the 2 skills you can focus on to deliver more effective feedback. If you Google how to give feedback, a lot of the conventional advice is about how you deliver feedback as a manager. And that talks about the ideal state of feedback. A lot of that references things like being clear, specific, actionable, timely, and supportive. And if you use a lighthouse as an analogy, it has a clear light that helps shine the way for sailors to come to land. And it's supportive because the purpose of the lighthouse is to actually allow safe passage for the sailor to land. Its purpose is specific. The lighthouse is there for that one purpose. It's actionable because when the sailor sees the light, it helps him navigate better. And it's also timely because there's a timer. It comes on at night and then turns off during the day. But the main thing that the delivery is important for is, so if you have some treasure or gold you want to share with the team, you don't want your delivery to get in the way of them accessing that gold. So by giving good, ideal feedback, it means that the gold is more accessible. The challenge is that sometimes you might hear really good sounding feedback, but underneath that is actually something that's harmful. So there are a lot of really famous sayings out there. One of them, for instance, is fake it till you make it. In my old role, working at an energy retailer, we have power plants that run and help supply energy to the entire country. Now, if we were to just fake it till we made it, we could cause really serious harm. And, it will be against some of our core values. So it's extremely important to be able to identify the fact that just because something's packaged really nicely, like a beautiful present with a bow and a ribbon and beautifully wrapped, doesn't necessarily mean that there's something good inside. The second thing is that if we think about the opposite end of ideal feedback, I'll call it chaotic feedback that might be unclear, ambiguous, harsh, or impractical. An example might be you get some feedback from your manager and they say, not good enough, do better now. And you can see there that you're not sure what to do with that. It's unclear. Do you want me to focus on the stuff I was not good enough at? Or what do you want me to do better? Ambiguous, like what does enough even mean? The tone was kind of harsh. It's a bit impractical. I don't know what to do with that. And there's an immediacy to it that may cause it to actually add a bit more stress. But the thing is, underneath that chaotic feedback may also be gold or something that's harmful. And if there's actually gold underneath that chaotic feedback, there's a missed opportunity. Conventional feedback actually isn't enough by itself. And to build really strong, empowering teams, you also need to focus on building resilience and critical thinking so that your team can find gold no matter the situation. If you're new to my channel, my name is Min, and I help organizations unlock value from AI, analytics, and data. If you want to explore how we can help, book a call below. And if you want more value add content like this, click subscribe, and I promise to deliver you a double rainbow. I was motivated to create this video after I received this farewell message from a team member of mine when I left my job at Origin. I probably learned more and experienced more relative to time spent with you versus any other manager I've had. And I've really reflected on that statement. I think the core of it is really around the feedback that I shared with this particular team member. I will now walk through my journey of giving feedback and what I learned. I've taken this conventional feedback advice and, really focus in to make sure that a lot of the feedback I give is clear, specific, actionable, timely, and supportive, and steered away from chaotic feedback. And what we noticed is that this really accelerated growth because you're really pinpointing the changes the team needed to make that also made the biggest difference. And by doing so, what we noticed was there was actually a lot of praise for the team. The team had received a lot of promotions and we were doing really, really good work. But little did I know that there was a storm that was also brewing. And I'm from Melbourne, so there's always a storm brewing, and you always have to have your brolly ready in case the rain comes. But in this case, what it was that as we had these elevated responsibilities, um, the actual environment that my team needed to operate in was much harder. I remember one of my team members who had been asked to support a forum where they make decisions that impact between millions and tens of millions of dollars in revenue. And they've been asked to present at this forum on a regular basis. They had a 5-minute update that needed to provide at the beginning. And they would have this whole script of what they wanted to cover off. And sometimes after the first sentence, someone would jump in and say, no, I don't think this is right. And they would really struggle to come back from that sort of feedback. And what I realized, which was really important, was that their feedback system wasn't able to cope with the new requirements of their new role. And that I had inadvertently trained the team to perform only under ideal conditions and not under chaotic conditions. So I then moved my approach to giving feedback to something that was more chaotic in nature. And the reason I did that is because you need to find a safe place for your team to learn and practice in. And that's often in a team environment where you're working together and you can actually go through different scenarios and examples. And I would purposely make things unclear and ambiguous, or come in with maybe not so much of a friendly tone, but maybe more of a neutral or a more immediate type of tone, just to see how they would respond. And it was important that they were able to operate in this environment because we had such a wide variety of stakeholders, and the needs of the stakeholders were varied. And to operate in that environment and succeed, you needed to be able to operate quite quickly and be able to find the gold in those situations. This allowed the team to build out both resilience, but also something called anti-fragility, which is from a book called Anti-Fragile from an author called Taleb. And anti-fragility is a concept which means that things actually grow stronger from hardship, not just stay the same after hardship, but they actually grow stronger. And this was the kind of thing that we wanted the team to build. And things continued to go along, but there was something else that was brewing underneath the surface. And that was this dangerous predator. And that predator is actually called the lionfish. Yes, the lionfish, not the shark. And the reason I want to zoom in onto the lionfish is that the shark is obviously something that people perceive as dangerous, so they steer away from it. But the lionfish is this beautiful fish that divers can frequently see when they go diving. And when you see this lionfish, you might be tempted to approach it or to touch its beautiful scales, but it actually has 18 venomous spines. And the reason why I point out the lionfish is in business, even with the most well-meaning intentions, you can accidentally mislead a team, especially as a leader yourself. I remember one situation with one of my leaders where we were in this really heated discussion, and they were asking me, I was asking them, oh, why did you do this piece of work? And they said, well, you told me to. And I was like, oh, okay. And did you disagree, or you didn't think that we should have done it? And they're like, yeah, I didn't. But they hadn't spoke up during that. And, as a leader, we hold these sort of positions of power where our teams and the business can, hear what we're saying and kind of take it for granted. And I realized that I had inadvertently misled my team, but I hadn't built a culture of being able to challenge and to also build out critical thinking skills. So one thing I had to start to do is actually give my team purposefully misleading information in order to give them the opportunity to lead themselves. And that really is to lead themselves to find what's useful and what isn't from a particular situation. Whilst conventional feedback focuses on delivering it ideally, effective feedback is really about giving both chaotic and ideal feedback to build out resilience and anti-fragile skills, as well as accelerating growth. And it's also about providing misleading feedback So you can help build the critical thinking skills for people to find what's helpful in that feedback. And if it's not helpful, then to disregard it. And I hope that you share your chaotic, ideal, misleading, or helpful feedback in the comments below. Because the key isn't just giving ideal feedback. It's about empowering your team to find gold, no matter the situation. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how bright your lighthouse shines if your sailors don't know how to navigate. Because what's really important isn't forging perfect lighthouses. It's providing effective feedback that forges resourceful navigators, not just illuminates the ideal path.